Alright guys, I gotta replace the new joint in the front axle on the driver's side. I'm gonna get my gloves on because it's pretty cold out here. I'm gonna show you exactly why I gotta replace this. If you look at it here, the bearings fell out, or the needle bearings fell out on all four sides. So I gotta replace that out. I got the new one right up here, and hopefully that's the right one. I gotta start out by taking the caliper, the two caliper bolts out, which are a big Allen. It's a 3/8 Allen. So I'm going to start by doing that. I'll take those out and then I'll show you the next step. Alright, now I'm ready to pull the caliper off. And what I'm going to do is just set this over to the side. And just going to put the bolts in there for now. Rests right on there like a nice little shelf. Now the rotor should come right out. It's a big shadow. I'm going to see if I can move this light. Is that any better? That came right off. So now, in order to take this off, most people would say they got to take this big nut off right here, the axle nut, but you don't need to. There's 3 bolts on the back of the wheel bearing. Back here, which look like they're going to be a pain for me to get off. Back here, one there, a couple on the other side. Well, for these you're probably going to need a breaker bar and a pipe. So, well, the pipe doesn't fit over the breaker bar, but this is a 15mm, and that bolt looks like it's rounded off a little bit. That's not good, but I'm gonna start with this one up here. It's in the best shape. Guys, I managed to get the bolts loose, all 3 of them. What I did, I wouldn't recommend doing. I hammered a 14mm 12-point socket onto each one of them, and that gave enough grip where I could break it loose. And I also sprayed everything down with some penetrating oil, and I used about a 3-foot length of exhaust pipe on the breaker bar to break it loose, and they all came off. So that was surprising. Hopefully you have a better time getting those loose. Hopefully you live in a southern state. But thankfully I got all of them loose, and now once I get those off, I can pop the wheel bearing out and pull the whole axle shaft out. Well guys, I tried hammering it by hand. It's in there pretty good, so I'm going to break out the air hammer. Hopefully you guys have one at home. It's super handy to have. I gotta sharpen the bit up, but this thing is extremely helpful for this kind of stuff. Alright, with quite a bit of work, finally got it loose. See, it was pretty rusty in there. When I put it back together, I'm gonna coat this with grease, sand it up and coat it with grease. But the whole axle should pull out now. See, I'm going to be careful with this side, make sure that it stays good and clean. And now you can see just how bad that is. It moves pretty much in every direction. You can see there's no needles in there. So now it's time to change that out. Sorry about all the noise. I got the heater running. I'm actually going to slip this back in there so that I can break loose this nut, the axle nut, because the wheel bearing is actually in pretty bad shape. I just picked up a new one, so I'm going to replace it. It's pretty rough to turn. You can feel a bunch of hard spots. So I'm going to do that, and I'll get back with you guys. So now that I got this out in the light, you can see just how bad it really is. If you look up closely here, all the bearings, all the little needles are gone on all four, actually 3 sides. There's only one side right there, the one that has the seal. That's the only side that has needles still in there. All 3 of the other sides are gone. So hopefully I can get this U-joint out. And then I got the right part this time. The first one I got was the wrong part. I got the right one. And hopefully it'll go back together pretty smooth. It took about half an hour of messing around with the air hammer. But let me tell you what, this thing has saved me so many times in the past, at work, at home. I highly recommend investing in one of these. Because that half an hour with this thing probably would have been 3 hours doing it by hand. So, you can see here, I got them out. Pretty rough shape. The good thing is the axle is in good shape. I'm just going to clean up this a little bit with a wire wheel so the new ones go in smooth. And once I get that on, it should be smooth going back together. Alright, so I'm just going to take my Dremel with a little wire wheel. I'm going to clean this up a little bit in here. Get it all nice and shiny. Take all that rust and crap out of there. Now I'm putting the U-joint in. And basically all I got to do, I got a socket here. It's a 3/4 inch socket. It fits around here pretty good. But just tapping one of the caps in on one side to get started. That's good. For now, I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to start tapping in the other side. Got to make sure all these bearings stay in there. You got to be careful. You don't want to go too far because then this won't turn nicely. So you want to go, when you get to this point, you got to go slower and check it. See, I'm almost there. I went a little bit too far on that side, I think. Actually, no, I gotta go further. I gotta go further on this side. A little bit, because it wasn't all the way down. Now this side. You can see this is the inside snap ring, so I gotta go a little further on this side so the little groove comes all the way down. It's almost there. That looks about right. If it's not all the way down, if I can't fit the clip in there, then I'll just tap it a little bit more. But that's good right there. Put the clip in. It's pretty easy. Sometimes you can pop them in by hand. Of course, I don't have the thing all the way over, so I'm just gonna tap it a little bit. A little good taps. Make sure this still feels good. Still good. And there we go. I gotta. There it goes. So now it's all the way in. The other side's done. Feels good. So now I'm gonna put the other piece on. Here's the axle. Got it all together. See, it looks nice. It moves good. And I gotta clean up this side. Got some dirt in it and stuff. And then I can slip it back in there and put the wheel bearing, the new wheel bearing on, which is sitting over there. So for future, because I want that wheel hub to come out a lot easier than it did, so I'm going to grease it all up. I know it's probably supposed to be like a press fit in there, but it's got 3 bolts holding it on, and I'm not worried about it. There's probably a picture of somebody doing this in a book somewhere with the line through it. Here's the new wheel bearing. I'm going to slip it in there. Oh yeah, I gotta cut this zip tie. Cut. Got the zip tie cut. Now I can slip it in. Like so. Beautiful. A couple little taps. Before I push it all the way in, I'm just gonna get the bolts started. Maybe it should kill it. Alright, I'm tightening the caliper up, and that will conclude the U-joint in the front axle replacement on a 99 Dodge Ram 1500, and also the hub, which was kind of unexpected. But anyway, I hope that this video was helpful to you. If it was, hit subscribe, give me a like. If it wasn't helpful, you know what? Thumbs down. I don't care. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't offend me. So whatever you feel like doing, whatever you're happy with. Until next time, guys, I'll see you in the next one.